The Sony FX30 is, in my opinion, the best bang for your buck cinema camera right now. It has fantastic autofocus, image profiles, and if you're used to Sony and you have E-mount lenses already, you're going to be able to use this camera very easily. In this video, let's go over some of the accessories I use with my FX30 to make things a little bit easier and the images a little bit better. My first accessory for the FX30 isn't a very exciting one, but it is an absolutely mandatory one. When it comes to batteries for the FX30, you have one Sony NPF-Z100 battery that you get, but you can also use this with USB-C power delivery or a dummy battery. I like to use this with power delivery because I get to have a fully charged battery in the camera, so if one of my power sources dies, I still have the battery in the camera to fall back on. The first external battery source I use is an external battery. Just make sure you find one that is a USB-C power delivery of 9 volts, 3 amps. If you're looking for a cheap V-mount option and you are willing to make a little bit of a rig out of your camera, I have a whole video going over an FX30 rig that I'll link at the end of this one. But using these Power Extra batteries, these are actually very cheap and very reliable for what they are, but you will have to use these with a dummy battery and you will have to make a little bit of a rig out of your camera. If you're looking for something a little more compact and something you can use with USB-C, you will also have to make a rig with rails and a V-mount battery plate with these batteries, but this can be used with USB-C power delivery straight to your camera, and again, you can have that battery in your camera. Again, I'll link that video at the end of this one, but batteries are very important when it comes to powering, especially a cinema camera, for long periods of time. When it comes to SD cards for the FX30, I always keep a Pelican case full of cards with me because all these cameras chew through 4K footage, so having a ton of V60 and V90 cards is an absolute must. V60 is the lower end that I would go with. You can technically use V30 with some of the 4K, 24 and 30 and 1080p options, but I like to go with at least V60 cards and V90 cards if I will be shooting any 30 frames per second intra footage. CF Express Type A cards are great, but they are super expensive and they're not as fast as the Type B cards, and I don't shoot those frame rates. They're great if you need to get footage onto your computer quickly, but I really don't use those codecs, and the price of those is insane. So I stay with a lot of V90s and a lot of V60s, and it's been working out just great for me. My third accessory for the FX30 is microphones. By and large, I've been using the DJI mics, and these are the DJI wireless mics, and they have been an absolute pleasure to use. They're super easy. You just open up the case, everything turns on, and it's ready to be paired and go. So I've mostly been using the DJI mics. However, if I needed an on-camera shotgun, I've actually used the DD-D3 Pro once, and it was nice to just pick up some audio, but I don't really record audio with this camera very close up. It's usually farther away, and I'm using my XLR mic, or I just need a very quick solution and I'm using my DJI mics. I just want to be clear, you can use XLR audio if you have the top handle with the FX30, but I haven't used it in that way yet. My next accessory for the FX30 it's already on my camera now. It is the cage and making a rig out of this to really fit what your shoot needs. I have a whole video deep diving into this, but it is nice to be able to rig up this camera using the mounting points on it, and you can remove the cage, keep this NATO quick release plate on here, and have a quick release handle with a monitor on it. Then you can get up and running very quickly with just having one NATO plate on your camera. In my dedicated FX30 rig video, I go into my thought processes a little more on that, so I'll save that for that video. Having a cage and a rig for your camera, especially a cinema camera, is a very nice thing to have. My fifth accessory for the Sony FX30 is a very fast lens. This camera is good in low light, but it's not as good as the bigger brother FX3, FX6, or the Sony a7S III. You can get around that though by having a very fast prime lens. I love the 20mm 1.8, the 35mm 1.8 that I'm filming with right now, the 50mm 1.2, and the 90mm 2.8. This one's a little bit of a wild card, and I need to make a whole video going over this one in the future, but when it comes to product photography, this is a fantastic lens that I cannot live without. believe it or not, I use this lens all the time, and it is a complete workhorse. So those are the lenses that I would have if I was on a budget and looking for the best bang for my buck. Maybe instead of the 50mm 1.2, the 1.4 came out, so I would look into that one. But I haven't used it, so I can't recommend it one way or another. If you're looking for a zoom lens and you're on a budget, I have a video about the Tamron 28-75 G2 versus the 24-70 GM2. Very different price ranges, but I would check out that video if you're looking for it to make a better informed decision about those two lenses. But I'm going to completely contradict everything I just said and recommend the 24-105 f4 lens. I realize this is an f4 and we're talking about a camera that's not fantastic at low light, but if you're looking for a versatile lens and you can control your lighting a little bit more, this will get you a very long way. This was one of the first lenses I ever picked up and I still use it all the time. It is a very good value for what you're getting, and if you're looking to just start off with one lens, that is a very good lens, especially for a B or a C camera. The reach and the throw, being able to go from 24 to 105 is very easy, and you're not sitting there swapping prime lenses back and forth. That being said, prime lenses do have a special place in my heart. It really just comes down to how you shoot and what you're going to shoot. So I'll leave the ball in your court there. We're halfway through, and I just wanted to say, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to give it a like. It really does help with the YouTube algorithm, and I just want to say thank you. My next accessory for the Sony FX30 is the RS3 Pro or any gimbal. You can also use the RS2 or the RS3 Mini. I don't have any experience with the RS3 Mini, but I have a lot of experience with the RS3 Pro, and I love this gimbal, especially for events and weddings. Just being able to add smooth handheld footage will really make your footage stand out from a lot of just regular handheld footage all the time. My next accessory for the FX30 is a monitor, and this is the Atomos Ninja 5. This will allow you to record ProRes RAW from the FX30 if you choose to do so, but I also just use this all the time so I can have a clean feed of just whatever is on screen, and I can have all of my HDMI info display on the back of the screen here. So it's really nice to get up and going quickly. Again, you'll have to do a little bit of rigging to get this onto your camera that I go over in my FX30 Rig video. So yeah, check that video out after this one if you want to learn more about how to rig your monitor to your FX30. In the past, I used to recommend very big bags. I can still recommend the Lowepro 450 AW2 because it can fit tons of camera gear and it can last you the whole trip. I filmed that destination wedding with 2 shooters worth of cameras and lenses and batteries and drones in one backpack. So that one's huge, but I also used this sling bag from Peak Design. This is the 8-liter sling, and I was keeping the A7R5 in this camera bag, but I was able to fit a similarly sized camera to the FX30 and 2 lenses in this bag along with other batteries. So if you're going out and just running and gunning, just filming a travel video or just filming something for fun, having a small bag was a blast, and not taking everything that you ever need to bring with you in a backpack is sometimes more conducive to being creative and not having limits put on you when you're just tired from lugging a bag around all the time. So while you're probably going to be using this camera in a professional setting, you'll have Pelican cases or that Lowepro 450 AW. I'm gonna go a little different here and recommend a really small bag. This 8-liter sling is really great if you're just going out and about, and yeah, I've used this bag more than I anticipated using it, so definitely could recommend. My next accessory for the FX30 is storage. Tons of storage. For long-term storage, I've been using WD Black drives or WD My Passport or Toshiba 4TB drives. I just find whatever's cheapest at that time of those 3 different drives, and that's the one I use. At the time of purchasing this last one, it was a WD Black drive, which is actually a nice drive, and knock on wood, I've never had anyone fail on me. But I buy them in 2 packs, and I keep the redundant data on each drive. So in case something does happen, I have a redundant copy of it anyways. And my working files, I always have a Samsung T7 drive, specifically the T7 drives. I've used the other SSDs from Samsung and other SSDs from other brands, and this one has never failed me, and at any other time, my other SSDs have failed me, so I've stuck with this specific T7 drive for a few years now. It's been everywhere. It's been in my backpack every day, going with me no matter where I'm going, and it hasn't failed on me yet, so maybe I just got a great drive, but I can definitely recommend the Samsung T7 drives if you're looking for an SSD for your FX30. If you're looking for a backup solution of these hard drives and you don't want to buy additional hard drives, because I know that is a pain. Everyone always rolls their eyes whenever I told them, like, yeah, I buy drives in twos, and they're like, oh, that sounds like a nightmare to manage. And it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. You have to be very deliberate with all of your file copying, and it's just come over years that I just know to do that instinctually now. However, recently I've been using a service called BackBlaze that backs up all of your hard drives to the cloud. It takes a ton of bandwidth. My internet service provider is always sending me excess data overage fees, but it is cheaper than actually buying external hard drives to just have redundant storage. And the benefit of that is it's automated, so it just does it in the background. My previous cloud solution was Dropbox, and that was getting very expensive, so I dropped down to a lower Dropbox tier and actually went with BackBlaze because they have unlimited storage as long as you have your drive plugged into the computer. I think it's like every month. So as long as you can plug your external hard drives into your computer every month and let them check the files and make sure nothing has changed, you can have unlimited drives plugged into one computer for one pretty low cost. I'll put on screen how much it is now, but it is very affordable, and I think if you buy a year, they actually give you a price break. So I should go over and do a data management on video footage because it is a bear to work with, and if you lose one video file, it can ruin an entire project. So I should probably do a deep dive into that subject at some point. My last accessories for the FX30, I'm just gonna tear through them for time's sake, and I can't really show you them because I'm using them right now. But my first one is lights. Coming from a cinema camera, the image is only as good as what is in front of it, and having great lights will really make your subject shine. I'm not saying I'm shining right now, but anyone that you put in front of your camera, you want to have the most flattering light you possibly can have on them. Not only so they're happy, but the image on your sensor is also happy. So having great lights and softboxes and modifiers are very important, out of the scope of this video, but don't forget to get great quality lights. My next accessory is a quality tripod. If you're going to be using this camera, you will probably be using it on a tripod at some point, and having a quality tripod will outlast this camera and lens and any other camera you can possibly have. So I have a Manfrotto tripod. I have two different versions of that I can recommend. And then if you need a small travel tripod, I have a three-legged thing, Anarchy Punk's Brian. Hell of a name. But I have that tripod for traveling, but when it comes to video work and setting a B or a C camera down and letting it just sit there, the last thing I want is a flimsy tripod that if someone comes along and bumps into the tripod not seeing it, that it will tip over or something. My two bigger Manfrotto tripods are the current tripods that I'm confident putting my camera on and walking away from. And really that's saying a lot after all the tripods I've tried over the years. My next accessory is actually a free one, and you can download the Sony app to remotely view your camera. So if you don't have a monitor, you can use the app as like kind of a stopgap until you can buy one. But also you can use this to monitor your camera if you are remotely away from it. So if this is your B or C camera, you don't have to have the screen flipped out to the side and then, you know, you're 10, 15 feet away from it and you're like kind of doing one of these. You can just pull up the Sony app and have a live feed on your phone. There are more expensive monitors and solutions that you can have a very robust monitoring system, but if you just need to monitor a feed from your camera, it doesn't get as simple and great price is that? And my last accessories for the FX30 are microfibers, a rocket blower, and sensor swabs. I actually had to go out and buy new sensor swabs because all of my other cameras are full frame, and this is a APS-C or Super 35 camera, so I had to go out and buy smaller sensor swabs. So that's one thing to take into consideration. If you have nothing but full frame cameras, you're gonna have to buy smaller sensor swabs to accurately clean your sensor if you get a speck of dust on there. So those are my accessories for the Sony FX30. If I missed something, please leave it in the comments down below and I would love to check it out. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like and check out my FX30 Rig video. There's a lot of other little tidbits about the FX30 in there. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.